So we all can relate to that feeling where you feel like you're on the ground. How are you going to get back up again? And the people around you that help you stand back up.
The film's great. We all watched it yesterday. We were all in bits. We have to be mopped up. So frame the film for us and then tell us where it may have come from in your inner being.
Well, the film is about a car accident, and it's about how that car accident affects two different families. And so I know that sounds quite serious, and the film is serious, but there's also a lot of humor infused in it. I didn't want the audience to feel like it was too maudlin. So there's a lot of drama. It's Morgan Freeman and Florence Pugh, two legendary actors going toe-to-toe. But there's humor, there's drama, there's some tears, there's love. It's got everything.
It has got everything. It's got, and it seems very informed in parts as well. Where did it come? Why did you write this film, and where did all that sort of those factual situations come from?
Well, I've gone through a lot of loss in the last 4 years myself, and I wanted to write about what it's like getting over that. I lost my father, I lost my sister, I lost my best friend to COVID. He was 41 years old. So I wrote this during the pandemic. I wanted to write about what it's like to stand back up after a very, very hard time in your life, and the people who help you do that, the friends and family that help you cope. And I wanted to do it in a way that was moving, but also funny, and Florence and Morgan are able to do that quite well.
Quite well. I mean, you talk about them going toe to toe. They do for the benefit of us. What was it? That's not how actors approach a scene though. Together, they don't go toe to toe. They don't. It's not like a world heavyweight fight, is it? How does that work? How do they give each other space to be so great in the same scene? How come one doesn't steal the scene from the other? Because it doesn't happen.
Well, no. To use the hackneyed analogy, it's like playing tennis. There's a scene where the two of them are sitting across from each other in a diner booth, and you're watching, the most exciting ingenue on the planet, in my opinion, go toe-to-toe with one of the most legendary actors of all time. And because they're so wonderful, they both raise each other's game.
Yeah.
Because it's just so real. And if you have two really fine actors, it's like two fine, in the spirit of being on Virgin Radio, it's like two amazing musicians that are riffing together. They both make each other better. And so you have these two just extraordinary actors, and together they make a beautiful music, if you will.
They do. It's a beautiful way of putting it, and they are sitting, face to face in this diner after the unthinkable has happened to both of them for one reason or another. And then the sort of parallel story is that they both meet in recovery as well, don't they? Per chance.
Yes, she. I'm not spoiling anything because this is in the trailer. She bottoms out and decides that she needs to go to an NA meeting, and she goes. And there, of all the meetings she's chosen, there is the man who was to be her future father-in-law. She sees him, and she instantly runs out. And he comes to her and says, "I know how hard it is to get here. Don't leave, please." And he's the one who pulls her back into the meeting. And she's like, "I'll choose another one. There's plenty of other meetings." He goes, No. I know how hard it is to get here. Come back in." And that sets off in motion this very unlikely friendship between two people who would never necessarily have been friends.
Yeah, and you think the redemption starts and maybe ends there. And then you look at your laptop like I did last night. You think, hang on, there's an hour left. Something else must go on. And so, there is redemption that needs to be then revisited. And it's all about the sort of uselessness, but the unavoidance of blame sometimes as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And about responsibility and guilt and all these things wrapped up to it. These characters are going through very extreme situations, but my hope is that audiences will take their own experience into it. It doesn't need to be the extreme of a tragic car accident. It could be whatever the lowest moment in someone's life is. But we all can relate to that feeling where you feel like you're on the ground. How are you going to get back up again? And the people around you that help you stand back up. Well, it was imperative to me to get it right. So not only did I consult people who are in recovery or recovery specialists, but every time we had anything related to AA or NA or recovery in a scene, I had someone there on set, and I was saying, is this real? Does everything feel accurate? Because I wanted to honor the community and make sure that we didn't mess it up.
So when you get Morgan Freeman and you get Florence, and you are. Let's go back to the diner. People haven't seen it, but you will see it. It's a diner sequence, and it's a profile shot. It's 2-shot. It's beautifully choreographed. It's beautifully framed. How much does the director need to do? Stay out of the way or get involved?
That's a great question. I think when you have, they say, someone once said, like, casting is 75% of directing, and I really believe that. When you have actors of that level, you're not talking to them about acting necessarily. You're having a conversation of saying, because the director looks at the whole movie and goes, do you think maybe because we're here in the script, we shoot out of order, that maybe you're a little angrier? I don't know. It's a question. You're not teaching them acting. Obviously, these are two savants. It's more about having a conversation of, should we try one where you're more angry because of X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like being the conductor of an orchestra and saying to the first violinist, who's incredible, I'm not going to teach that person how to play the violin better, but I might say, maybe play a little softer here so we can hear the oboes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, once you get a banker of a take, then you can play if you have time left in the shooting day.
Yes, that's great. It's particularly hard when you're going as fast as we did because we shot the whole movie in 26 days. But yeah, when you have one that's...
How'd you do that? Out of interest.
Well, it's very hard. You have to have a and it's so pretty, right?
Whoa.
So you have to have a cinematographer who's not only incredible but can go that fast
and doesn't have to sleep.
And you have to have actors who are game for it because you don't have a lot of time to sit around and go, okay, let's do it again. And you're like, okay, we got it. Good. Let's come on. Let's move on.
Do you have a train set yourself at home?
I did as a child.
I thought you might have done. You seem to know a lot about it.
Morgan's character has a train set, a model train set in the film, and that's his hobby. And as a child, I had one, and it was very important to me. It was my favorite toy, and I just always knew some point I was going to put it in a movie because it was a big touchstone for me as
safety, security,
Yes,
and you go down to the basement, and it's your own little world.
Exactly, that's the best way to put it, and that's what I put in the film. Is that even as a child or as a senior citizen in this case, you disappear into your own little world, and it's a world of your making. And Morgan's character is someone whose life has been out of control in a lot of ways, and he really sees it as a little miniature world that he can create and lord over, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first curveball, really, I think, in the movie, is the fact that because the movie starts off with his voiceover, and he is the sage, he is the font of all wisdom, and he is infallible. You think, A, because he's Morgan Freeman, B, because of the patriarchal and responsible ex-cop kind of character that he seems to be, and also he's got a layout. He's a man of detail. He's a man of attention. He likes to give presents to every moment in his life, and you think, well, he must be the go-to guy in this movie. Not so. Well,
yeah, but careful not to give spoilers.
I know.
I was worried you were going to tiptoe into spoilers.
No, I sort of want to. But when you get Morgan Freeman, so you're delivered. Somehow you get Morgan Freeman to be in your film. Is that something to do with an answer phone message? If somebody called you up, was it his voice they heard on your answer phone?
Oh no! What happened was I directed a big studio heist movie called Going in Style, and so he was in that with Michael Caine and Alan Arkin, and that was years ago. And so I knew Morgan, and the story you're thinking of is that on the set of that movie, he lost a bet to me, and when he lost the bet, I got him to do my outgoing voicemail message.
And what if you'd have lost? What did you have to do?
I
give him £1 million.
I can't tell you what that was. That's a secret. But it was. But my message forever was like, "Hello, this is Morgan Freeman. Zach can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message,
if you dare."
And so I reached out to him. I never thought, it's an indie. Morgan doesn't do a ton of low budget indie movies, and I didn't know that he didn't think he would say yes, but he was my dream. And I reached out to him, and within 2 days he called me and he said, "I see myself on every page of this script." And I was like, "Does that mean yes?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm in." And so then I had Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman.
Okay, so he calls you up. Yeah, he's read the script. He says all these dream things on the phone, and you think this can only end with a yes, but it probably won't, because how could that possibly? A boy can dream.
Yeah.
So you put the phone down. He has said yes. What happens next to you at that moment in your life?
I dance up and down. I jump up and down. I twirled like a little boy.
Did you actually do that?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
I danced around my living room, jumping up and down.
I love that.
I couldn't believe it because it just felt impossible. You know, there are some legendary actors like that who love to do a little indie and then go back and forth to big studio movies. Morgan stereotypically is not that kind of a guy, and so I didn't think we really had a chance. But he said yes. You know, to make a movie in 26 days for no money. He said yes.
So, you know, one would imagine from an amateur sort of pound seat in the cinema or in front of your widescreen TV nowadays that, you know, you book Morgan Freeman, you get Morgan Freeman. You know, it's like Michael Caine. You know, Michael Caine, yeah, but he's always Michael Caine. It's not the case, is it? It's just not the case.
Well, Morgan, it's been a second, and he would probably admit this, that he's been called upon to go this deep into a character. He's done a lot of characters that are wonderful. I mean, the man can do no wrong. But it's been, I think, a long time since a director said, hey, I want you to really go somewhere deep and dark and vulnerable. And he really, as you know from seeing it, really just delivers an incredible performance in this movie.